You know you're gonna see the best, the worst with the shit flick critic. You know you're gonna see shit that's absurd with the shit flick critic. From Pandemic the Room, Samurai Cop Troll 2, Man, sense of fate, mind connection too. So come along, see the worst with me. I'm the shit flick critic. Self-isolation edition. Hello everyone, my name's Andrew Lewis and welcome to the self-isolation edition of my series, The Shit Flick Critic. This is basically me in a very sort of vlog style talking about some of the terrible films I've been watching while I've been self-isolating in Blackpool in England, and it doesn't look like the UK is going to be alleviating any of the restrictions anytime soon, which gives me plenty of opportunity to watch more films. And one of the films I watched quite recently was a film called Who Killed Captain Alex, which it's been cited as Uganda's first action movie, and it's certainly something else. It was made in 2010 by a gentleman called Nabwana Isaac Jeffrey Godfrey on a very, very, very small budget. There's been two estimates to how much was spent on the film, the highest being around $200 American, with the lowest being about $85 American, which is extremely impressive given everything that happens in this movie. And apparently it was edited on a film that Isaac just made out of spare parts he'd found lying around. So it gives you sort of an indicator of the how much money went into the production, which was very little. So I guess now we'll just talk about the story, because Isaac was really inspired by a lot of American films that he'd watched as a child, which really inspired him to make his own action movie. So the plot of this film just follows a lot of the same tropes as a lot of American movies from the 80s, like be it Rambo or something like that. So basically you've got the baddies of the movie is the Tiger Mafia, which is a criminal organization looking to do bad things in and around Uganda. And then you've got the Ugandan Special Forces who wish to stop the Tiger Mafia, led by the eponymous Captain Alex. And really the whole movie is just them encountering one another at various times and just shooting each other a lot. In very over-the-top styles, like swinging from ropes, and they always seem to be firing from the hip a lot and, always hitting other people, which is a miracle given how inaccurate that style of firing actually is. And at one point, the Ugandan Special Forces kidnaps the leader of the Tiger Mafia's brother, which makes him very irate. And he wishes to kill a lot of them because of that. And then, it's not really a spoiler because it's in the title of the film, but at one point Captain Alex does in fact get killed, and a lot of the plot has to do with trying to find out the perpetrator of that particular event. And I guess that's sort of the plot boiled down to its very bare essence. But what basically happened was Isaac, he had produced this film in 2010, but either I think he wasn't very happy with it or he didn't think anyone would see it, so he deleted it to make way for his next film, and still put a trailer up on YouTube, which went viral almost immediately. And I actually remember watching that film, the trailer for the film, when it came out in 2010 or 11. And I remember thinking, what is this? I need to see this movie, and I couldn't actually find the full version anywhere. And because Isaac had deleted it, and it wasn't until a couple years ago that he decided to put the entire thing up on YouTube. But to do that, what he did was he basically just used a DVD and exported the video file from that and put it on YouTube. So as such, it includes commentary by a gentleman called VJ Emmy. And I didn't really know this, but apparently VJing, which is like a video joker, I think, basically like a riff tracks, is very popular in Uganda. So this version that I was watching included commentary by this gentleman, and I must say it did actually make the whole thing more enjoyable. VJM is a very interesting character, and a lot of his commentary, some of it's quite funny, some of it's quite strange, and then at other times he just just lets you know exactly what's happening in the movie, and I really don't think a lot of these things need to be pointed out. Like sometimes he just says movie while the movie's going, and he just says movie, movie, movie. It's like, yes, thank you. And what else does he say? Sometimes he actually undermines a lot of the sort of the emotional point of some of the scenes by, like, there's when the leader of the Tiger Mafia, when his brother is kidnapped, he's very upset about it and he's crying, and while he's crying, VJ Emmy is going, ooh, I want my mummy, which kind of sucks all the emotional point out of that film. But yeah, it's actually, I thoroughly enjoyed his commentary, and yeah, although as I said, a lot of it doesn't make sense, it still stopped the movie from being as boring as it probably could have been, which is why we need to talk about what really makes this movie interesting is the special effects, which are crazy. A lot of the effects are just done on a computer, but they did use a lot of practical effects, like with the blood. They actually had condoms. I'll never say this sentence in context ever again, but they had condoms filled with bovine blood that they used as squibs for a lot of the bullets. And at one point, the reason they had to stop using actual cow's blood because one of the actors got sick when he had to put the cow's blood in his mouth and go like and cough it out. It made him sick, so they did swap over to just using red food coloring after that point. But yeah, a lot of the other effects are just done. It seems like he had some sort of editing program, I guess maybe I want to say Premiere, that sometimes comes with like packages of like just pre-done effects. So a lot of that of just like dust coming up from bullets and stuff. But then there's other effects that are just, I don't know how he did it, and I really want to find out because it's so bad, but it's so unique that it's almost like he did it on Microsoft Word. Like, my only theory that I can think for some of these scenes is like there's scenes where a helicopter flies past a building and destroys it. I think maybe he just got a screenshot or just a JPEG of a building. He separated the building from the earth and made 2 layers. And then to make the building collapse, he just squeezed the building down because as this helicopter's flying over the top, it just kind of crumbles like that, which is very unique. And I remember seeing that effect in the trailer and just thinking, wow, this movie, it's definitely unique, all right. And a lot of the music in the film too is just what appears to be just royalty-free tracks. At one point they just play, and it has nothing to do with the context of the scene too. Like when it's showing how serious and bad the Tiger Mafia is, they're playing Mamma Mia by ABBA in the background. And then for the rest of the film, whenever there's any music, it appears to be a panpipe version of Kiss on a Rose on a Grave by Seal, which I don't know how they managed to get that royalty free, but it's very prevalent, and it's a fun film. I really did enjoy it. For all of its faults, it's certainly entertaining. As I said, VJ Emmy certainly does make it the most. I get the most enjoyment out of hearing his very unique commentary. Like the karate and stuff is good too. Like there is actually a big martial arts movement in Uganda, and that's where they were able to get a lot of these people to do martial arts throughout the film, and it's pretty impressive. It's just a fun film. I don't know if I've got that much more to say about it. It's definitely worth a watch. For all of its budgetary restrictions, they managed to pull a lot off and make it watchable. And it's certainly a lot of fun. And apparently Isaac involved the whole community in the production too, which is nice to know. He gave everyone something to do, and he's made a bunch more since then, so good on him. So I think that's about all I want to say about it. It's a fun film, and for all of its flaws, it's certainly entertaining. So we'll get straight to the rating, shall we? Rating. So, laughability. I laughed. I found it funny. I thought VJ Emmy was entertaining. A lot of his commentary was just very unique and funny. Even just like while the commandos are doing something, he was just saying "commando." As I said, a lot of it's kind of self-evident, but I thought it was good. rewatchability. Yeah, I could watch this again. Like, maybe not straight away, but definitely at some point I'd watch it again. It only goes for an hour, which I think does it a lot of good, because I think if it went any longer, I'd get bored. But an hour I thought was the perfect amount of time to watch it. It's definitely not boring. There's always something interesting going on, be it the over-the-top fighting scenes or things of that nature. And production value, I mean, obviously, again, had a very, very limited budget. But I think they did the best with what they had. I think a lot of the guns are just either toys or two pipes welded together, like here in the picture. So the guns very much vary in quality, but again, for everything, it's very, very creative, very creative uses of various objects, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And intention, I mean, you can't fault. It's just great. He made it for his grandma, who apparently helped him through a lot of various awful times in his life. Isaac just made it because he loves movies so much. He involved his whole community. So I think that this was made with extremely pure intention. So that's what makes me enjoy this so much, is you're really just watching someone who's very passionate about film do the best with what he has. So, when you compare it to movies like, I don't know, like Food Fight, which was made with millions and millions of dollars, and which is just offensive. And I know I keep comparing every movie to Food Fight, but I would set, the intention bar the lowest at something like Food Fight, made with a budget of $1 million and is just awful. I mean, this, $85, and everyone seemed like they were having a really good time. It's nice in the credits, it shows everyone enjoying themselves. And so ultimately I give this movie -4 stars. I loved it. I think you'll love it. You should definitely check it out. It's on, the whole video's on YouTube now with VJ Emmy, and it's worth a watch. So now that we've done with the film, I will leave you with another traveling story. So this one's about a place called Nordegg in Canada. So when I was in Alberta, no, let's go a bit back. When I was on the plane going into Canada, I met this couple, and they said that they were going to a place called Nordegg in Alberta, and it was nestled in the sort of the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. And I told them that I was a musician, that I was busking and traveling around. They're like, "Oh, you should definitely come to Nordegg, because there's a cafe there, and they do live music all the time. They'd love to have you there." I was like, "Oh, cool, that sounds fun." So when I got to Banff in Alberta, I looked at the map, and Nordegg didn't seem that far away. So I thought, okay, I'll head there. So I hitchhiked, but the more I was going, the more I realized how remote this place actually was. There wasn't anything around it. I managed to get all the way out to this town, and it was beautiful. It was like an old mining town. I got to the cafe, and I went in, and the sun was setting, and they were actually packing up. And I went in and went, "Hi, have any of you guys, do you guys know a couple called Jordan and Sarah?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, we know them. They're not in town this week." And I was like, "Oh, good. Is there anything to do in town?" They're like, "Nope." It's like, "Anywhere to stay?" They're like, "Nope." It's like, great. So I just travelled all the way out into the middle of absolutely nowhere for no reason. Cool. So I had to sleep in a bush that night because there was nowhere to stay. And just try and get back to civilization the next day. And I remember thinking, I could be stuck in this town, I don't know how long for. And so I went out on the road and I started hitchhiking. And a van pretty well pulled over straight away. And it was these two First Nations native dudes from Canada, and they invited me in. And I had a great time with them. I played them some songs on my guitar. They gave me a necklace. And it was really cool because one of the youngest one, it was a father and son, the youngest guy, his name was White Cloud. And I asked him, I said, "I'm really interested how you get these the naming conventions with native cultures. I was wondering where the name White Cloud came from." And the dad said that he was out hunting one day when he was younger, and he looked up in the sky and he saw a white cloud, and he thought to himself, "That's my son. Whenever I have a son, I'm going to call him White Cloud." And that's what he called him. So that was really cool. They took me all the way to a place called Rocky Mountain House, which is getting close to Red Deer. So they took me all the way back to civilization. When it was over, I gave them a big hug, and that was my time. So that was a crazy adventure, and it's sort of one of the more positive endings to what could have been a very terrible situation. So with that being said, that's the end of my episode. So here's a song for you. You know you're gonna see the best, the worst with the shit flick critic. Know you're gonna see shit that's absurd with the shit flick critic. From Pandemic the Room, Samurai Outro 2, Man, I'll sense of fame, I'm a connection to. So come along, see the worst with me. I'm a shit